Braided line is inevitable in bass fishing. It is very versatile. We can use it for a lot of different things, and they've advanced that line so much in the last 20 years that it makes sense for spinning rods, top waters, flipping, punching, frogging. There's endless ways that you can use braided line, but there's a couple things that you need to know about it before you start using it. So it all comes down to the hook, and I'll show you right here. So I have some braided line on this, and there's something about how slender braid is, how slick it is. If you have a hook where you don't have a welded eye, the eye of your hook isn't welded, that braided line can very easily slip right out through where there's an opening on the eye of your hook. So what I'll do is I'll just tie a regular knot, cut it off, and I will put a knot in between where the eye of the hook opens and where you will be tying your knot to the line on the rod that you're using. So as you can see here, I have just a regular knot here, and then I have my normal knot. Now if you see on my normal knot, the tag end of that is pretty long. And that is the other thing you need to know about braided line. Your tag will slip. So there's a couple tricks you can do. What I typically do is I will just cut that tag end off a little longer than I would in, let's say, my fluorocarbon or my monofilament. So you see that it's a centimeter or two long, just the tag end right there. And that tends to be all right. But if you cut that tag end off really close to the knot and you set the hook, a lot of times it will slip a little bit and your knot will come undone. Now you can also tie an overhand knot before you cut your tag end off. Tie an overhand knot and then cut it on the other side of that. Or maybe take a lighter once you have your tag end, burn the end so it kind of bubbles up, makes a little ball on the end of the tag end. But those are two things you need to know, and I learned those both the hard way. I had a big 1 ounce flipping jig, and I got a little cute, and I cut my tag end real close to the knot and set the hook, and nothing there. Reel it in, it's just line, and the knot come undone. And the other one is, a lot of times you're fishing braided line on some type of topwater or a worm or something like that, where those fish, they get it, you don't necessarily know where they're at, they swim a little to the side, and you set the hook, and that line doesn't stretch. So you're setting the hook on a bunch of slack line, but once you finally pull all the slack out of it with your hook set, it just kind of pops that line around the hook, and what it'll do is it'll pull that line right out where the eye of the hook isn't closed up. And that line is just so thin and so sleek that it just rolls right out of the hook. So find you a way to clog up that little hole on your hook if it's not welded shut. Those two things, you get those dialed in. This is a great tool for bass fishing. Try some braided line. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you on the water.